Okay, this is the first part in my Artificial Intelligence Tools for Writers tutorial. It's about using artificial intelligence to develop characters for creative fiction. I'm Christian Darkin. I'm a writer and animator. I've been involved in the creative industries my whole life in one way or another. And right now, artificial intelligence, and particularly the creativity of machines, is taking off in a way that is frankly astounding. And all that stuff, or a lot of it, is available for free to anyone who can understand it. So I've started coding some creative tools for authors, which make use of one of the cleverest non-human entities currently on the planet, that is GPT-3. Some of them I'm using right now as an author. Some of them I'm just playing with and experimenting with just to see how far they can go. So stick around and I'll show you how you can use them too. With the slight caveat that you need to be able to download a GitHub repository and run Python scripts on your computer, and you'll also need an account with GPT-3 and an API key that you can use. Don't worry, I'm aware that most writers watching this won't have a clue what any of those words mean. Don't worry, I won't leave you behind. Just stick around, like and subscribe, and you can see just how far this rabbit hole goes. So first things first, there's a link in the description to all my files. Download these and you'll see some folders with some text files in that have got some characters, plot synopses, movie scripts even, and other stuff that I've made using these tools. Just take a look at some of them and you can see what's possible. So this video is about my character creation tools. So let's get into it. Right, let's start by trying to make some characters. The first thing I'm going to do is just minimize my screen a little bit so that I'm not in the way. And then we've got my script here for making characters. It's called One Create Some Characters if you want to find it on the GitHub. I'm just going to hit play. Now, this code creates characters for your stories. You can start from scratch, or you can use other text files to create your characters. The other text files can be absolutely anything. You can start with another character and then get it to generate their wife or their husband or their children or their enemies or whatever you like. Or you can start with a vague background idea, maybe a little précis of your story, maybe a little bit of a historical document that tells you the kind of characters you're trying to create, maybe just a description. Anything you want. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go from scratch. The first thing it's going to ask me is for the genre or type of story my character is going to appear in. I don't really care, so I'm just going to hit return. Supporting files, I can bring in anything I want, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to bring in anything at all. So I just put no. Now I can add some additional info. This can be a short description of the kind of characters I'm trying to create. On this occasion, I think, now it can be anything. It could be a character you'd find in a murder mystery. It could be the antagonist in the story if you've loaded in a previous file. But I'm just going to type, the character is a cowboy. Let's try cowboys. It's going to ask me for a folder in which to save my files. So I'm just going to pick a place to save it. So here we go, a folder in which to save it. I'm going to put it in here in characters. I'm going to create a new folder which I'm going to call cowboys. There we go. So how many cowboys do we want to create? Let's create 5 characters. Now it's querying GPT-3, which is the artificial intelligence that we're using to to try and generate our characters in a few seconds. There we go. The first one's coming up. Hank the Hunted is a loner cowboy who's often hunted by others. He's a rebel without a cause, always on the lookout for a fight. Hank is impulsive and quick to anger. That's our first character. Now, what it's doing is it's creating, if we look in the Cowboys folder, it's creating 2 files for each character. There's Hank. The first is a précis. The first is a full. Let me load one up. Let me go for. Oh, they're both called Hank. That's interesting. Okay, the first one. Let's load this one up. The first one is a big description. It's got what the character looks like, what their history is, a little bit about their history, their quirks and flaws, the type of character they are. So this one says, Hank's a cowboy who's tough and sentimental. On the one hand, he's strong and silent type who doesn't show his emotions. On the other hand, he's a big softy who gets misty-eyed when he hears a sad song. Hank is constantly torn between these 2 contradictory sides of his personality. There we go. And then we've got a description. Hank is a muscular man with sun-weathered skin and piercing blue eyes. He always looks like he's ready for a fight, but there's also something sad and world-weary about his expression. Hank has a deep, gruff voice that always seems to be on the verge of a growl. There we go. So that's the kind of large description of the character. But it also saves another file, which is called the précis, which is just a couple of lines that describe the person. That's really useful if you want just a little bit of detail to give you an idea of what the person's like, but also to load in later on when we come to doing the synopses and doing the storylines. Let's just pick up another précis from a different one. Let's look at Johan, who's just appeared. It's quite a long one. Oh no, not Johan, it's called Jonah. Jonah is a cowboy who is struggling with inner demons. He's constantly at war with himself, trying to keep his darker impulses in check. Jonah is a tall, lanky cowboy with a weathered face, piercing blue eyes. Another one with weathered face and piercing blue eyes. That's interesting. He speaks with a slow drawl that belies his quick wit and sharp intelligence. He's not one for small talk, but when he does open up, he has a dry sense of humour that can disarm even the most cynical of people. Jonah was born and raised on a ranch in Texas. From a young age, he was comfortable enough in the saddle, had a way with horses. He's been working as a cowboy for the first few years. Lately, he's been feeling restless. Something's calling him to do more than just sit around all day and herd cows. But he's not sure what that something is. Jonah is high in neuroticism and low in agreeableness. He's also high in openness to experience, which means he's curious and open to new ideas. So there we go. Very quickly, GPT-3 has created for us 5 characters who could be part of a story. You can take these characters and use them straight off, but I would advise going in and editing them. So let's open one up. Here's Hank again. He's a strong, silent type who doesn't show his emotions. On the other hand, he's a softy who gets misty-eyed when he hears a sad song. I could put in. It's just a text file. So these are just text files, and this system that I've got works all the time with only text files. So at any stage, you can and should, as a writer, go in and put your own ideas in. So what can we say about Hank? Let's say Hank accidentally killed a man in a bar fight. He's now on the run from the police, from the sheriff. They have sheriffs, don't they, in westerns? Okay, so I'm going to save that. That's just added that to Hank 3. Now, so as you can see from, if you go to the GitHub repo, you can download all my files. And what you'll find here is a folder called characters. And in this, I've put in quite a few different characters. I've gone through and I've had a go with creating some alien species. Here's an alien species. Commander Clax is an intelligent and strategic military leader, but he can also be impulsive and short-tempered. He's driven by a strong sense of duty to his people, but often clashes with subordinates. He's got green skin and 4 arms, a deep guttural voice that echoes in your head, and he's quick to anger. He often underestimates his enemies. There we go. I've got a list of cowboys now. I've got cult members. I've generated a list of people from a cult, and this is just by typing in, instead of typing in a cowboy, type in, say, characters you'd meet on a fantasy quest, members of a protest group in 1970s London. I've got here. You can type in heroic failures is one that I've tried, and that's got a whole group of people who are in the opinion of the artificial intelligence heroic failures. People I might meet in a mental institution in the 1800s. But you can go even more surreal than that. I've got a list of pigeons here. I decided to do some pigeons. Pidgey the pigeon is one. There we go. There's a précis of Pidgey the pigeon. Pidgey is a small grey bird with a white chest and reddish-brown wings. She's very vocal, cooing and cooing all day long. Pidge is a free spirit who loves to fly around and explore her surroundings. However, she's very loyal to her flock and will do whatever it takes to protect them. There we go. There's a character for a pigeon. I've got some superheroes. This one's hysterical. I don't know where it's got this from, but let me load up. I asked it for superheroes with strange and unusual powers. So this is one of the ones it's given me. Captain Quirk. A 2-sentence description of the character's personality and internal contradictions. Captain Quirk is a quirky superhero with a strange and unique power. Captain Quirk is always seeking to protect the innocent and help those in need, but his unorthodox methods leave much to be desired. Brief history of his personality of his life up to now. Captain Quirk was born Quentin Quirksburg on the 1st of April 1978. Quentin was always a bit of an oddball. He was always getting into trouble as a kid. His parents didn't know what to do with him, so they sent him to military school in the hope that it would channel his energy in a positive way. It didn't quite work out that way. Fantastic. So we've got a whole range of characters now. Okay, now that I've got some characters, I've got another little utility that I've written. I'm just going to minimize the screen again. And what this allows me to do, this other thing, it's called Live Character Chat. Now this allows me to load in any of those character files that I've just created. Let me have a look and see if I can find one. I can load in any of these characters, or I can write my own description of a character. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to load in Hank. No, I'm not going to load in Hank. I'm not going to load in that file. I'm going to load in just the précis. Let me load in Cowboys précis of Hank. Right, and it's now asking me for the name, Hank, and the situation. What this is going to do is it's going to let us meet Hank and have a chat with him. So you can load in any situation. I don't need to, so I'll just hit return. I can say that I'm I'm a sheriff, come to interview him about a murder. I can say that I'm on a date with him. I can put any situation I want in just by typing in the situation, but if I leave it blank, it'll just be I'm just a person having a conversation with him. So the conversation begins. Howdy. Hank is replying, hey there friend, how are you doing? I'm fine. Tell me about your life. So just asking Hank a little bit about his life. Not much to tell really, I'm just a man trying to make my way in the world. Okay, where did you grow up? I grew up on a farm in Texas. My folks were honest, hard-working people. They taught me the value of the strong work ethic. Okay, let's get a bit deeper, shall we, and find out a bit more about Hank. Who are you closest to in the world? That would be my little sister Sarah. You see, I didn't write anything. There's nothing in any of the files about a little sister Sarah, but now we've got a little sister Sarah. We're always close growing up. She's the only family I have left. Oh, what happened to the rest of your family? What happened to the rest of your family? They're all gone. My parents died in a car accident. Okay, so this is a slight problem. Hank's a cowboy, so there shouldn't really be car accidents. So this is a slight weakness in the way that GPT-3 goes on. It's and also parents dying in a car accident is a bit of a cliche, isn't it? Really, Sarah's all I had left, but let's live with that. We can edit that later on. Let's ask him, how do you dress? I dress pretty casual, jeans and a t-shirt, flannel shirt, nothing too fancy. Okay, so there you go. Now let's finish this conversation. He's beginning to bore me, so I'm going to press quit. And I can then, here we go, a file comes up allowing me to save my conversation with Hank. Just call it Hank and save it, and then I've got a record of that conversation. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try having a conversation with a character that will stretch them a little bit more. So let's find another character. Now, a good thing about this, let me find. There you go. Murder mystery characters. Wilfred Smythe. Wilfred Smythe is the character we're going to be talking to. Now, give a situation. So this is how it's useful if you want to write a novel. Let's say now, I happen to know who Wilfred Smythe is. Let's have a look. Lord Wilfred Smythe Pye is a wealthy Englishman who takes great pains to present himself as the very model of a traditional gentleman. However, beneath his carefully cultivated facade, he is amoral and ruthless, stopping at nothing to get what he wants. Lord Wilfred Smythe Pye is the only son of the late Earl of Pyebury and was raised in a stately home in the English countryside. He's always had a taste for luxury and decadence and uses his family's wealth to indulge himself. He's always rude and aggressive towards anyone who considers inferior to him. So let's have a situation. I'm his maid and I'm asking for a raise in the salary. Conversation begins. I can't make ends meet on the money you give me, my lord. Wilfred, what's he going to reply? Impertinent girl, how dare you talk to me like that? You should be grateful that I even allow you to work in my home. You're nothing but a lowly maid, and you shouldn't consider yourself lucky that I pay you anything at all. Now get back to work before I fire you. No. I refuse. I will, if you don't pay me more, I will tell the police about your indiscretions. There you go. Let's see what Wilfred has to say about that. What? How dare you blackmail me? I'll have you fired and thrown out in the streets if you don't back down. You'll be lucky to find another job in this town. How would you like, I'm going to reply, how would you like everyone to know about your how would you like everyone to know about your murder of your wife? Now I'm telling you, you wouldn't dare. If you tell anyone, I'll kill you too. Now get back to work, or he's very keen that I should get back to work. I'm not sure what I'm actually doing for him, but I'm telling the police. I'm telling the police right now. Don't be ridiculous. They'll never believe you. I'm a lord and you're just a maid. Well, he does have a point. Now get back to work or you're fired. I've told the gardener and he's taking the evidence to the police right now. I suggest you run for your life. You little bitch, I'll kill you for this. You'll go to prison. No one will believe you. I'm a lord and you're just a maid. Now get back to work or you're fired. So there you go. There's a lot in that I just have to type in quit at the end, and I will and I can then save. I can now save this conversation. And there you go. Let me just look at it. So once I've saved it, this is a conversation with Wilfred, and you can see now I've saved it. It's all there. It's all there for me to use in my writing, in whatever way I want to use it. And there you go. I've put a whole load of characters that I've developed like this into the link below. Take a look at some of them and tell me what you think in the comments. I've also put some interviews with those characters, so you can see the script of those. Also, comment with any ideas you've got on what to do with this system and what to do with these ideas, how we might develop them in the future, and also what if you've tried it out and produced something really interesting. I'd love to hear about it. So please, let us know in the comments. I'm going to upload another video later in this series where we'll be using some of the other tools that I've got in that link for creating plot lines, synopses for stories, and breaking those down into scenes. So take a look at that, and we'll get into the artificial intelligence of brainstorming story ideas.